Hey, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Thriving Thoughts. I'm your host, Dr. Sherri. Today, I have my new friend, Miara, or Maven Miara Shaw. She is a business strategist. She is an incredible woman, and I'm just like her instant friend, and I know you are going to be an instant fan. Listen, this episode is packed to the brim with tips for you to live a life that truly thrives. Miara is an expert. Her gifting is in strategy, in doing, in moving you from stuck to execution. So you're going to get a lot of information about how to do that today. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of the way and let you learn all about going from stuck to execution from my new friend, Maven Miara Shaw. Whatever, just continue the conversation. But yeah, so you were saying that you were an energy trader for years and you saw this coming in Texas.
Yeah, just with the temperatures. I mean, this was a historic low, like 5 degrees in Houston.
Yeah. Did they say, has it ever been that low?
No. That was a historic low. Wow. So I just knew that the power grid, it's irrelevant that we are self-regulated, the power grid was not going to be able to handle the demand that we were going to put on the system.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is probably not going to be a good look. And so, yeah, the whole week before I, went stocked up on just, foods and things like that. But even everybody that I talked to that we got prepared.
Yeah.
We still were not prepared for everything that happened. I mean, it was, some people are still just so overwhelmed. Like I said, we're grateful. We were without power for a little bit, but
yeah,
we have a gas propane grill on the back patio.
Oh, nice.
And I cooked the whole meal out there and put a kettle on for hot tea. And
look at you.
I know, listen, being resourceful, but everybody, it was near our house. There was only like one fast food restaurant open, which was a Burger King. Nothing against Burger King, but that's not what I feed myself.
That's not your fuel.
The line, like any fast food restaurant that was open, the lines were like over an hour.
Wow.
Because you think some people, if they lost power and water,
they don't have food.
They can't. You can't cook, know. And the lines just for Burger King, there was a Whataburger open, and we saw a Popeye's chicken open, and the lines were just crazy. And some people's temperature they show got to 30 degrees inside their home. Like at that point, you have to leave. You can't stay in your house.
You can't survive in that.
And of course, the first night that happened, the roads are frozen. So now you got to drive 2 miles an hour to try to get someplace, potentially to a friend's house that does have power. But the roads were bad. It all of those things happening at once was crazy.
Perfect storm and snowball effect of all
snowball
of that.
Effect. Yeah, because the water situation, they have generators that kick on when the water pump stations lose power.
Okay.
But it was so cold, the generators didn't kick on. The generators weren't built, at least the ones here, for
Nothing
5-degree
was built
weather.
For that, right?
And so that dropped the pressure in the water system, and then along with people's pipes bursting in their homes, that's pulling. So then the whole water system crashed, and now people were without water. So you got water distribution centers, and then I think water started coming back on early in the week, like Monday. But then they were, folks were under 48-hour boil notice. So even though you have water, you got to boil it to make sure that it's safe. But then
if you don't have power, how do you boil it?
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't. You can't. You're still just using bottled water. And even today, this is Wednesday, there's still lots of water distribution sites handing out tons of water every day.
It's just been a week.
Yeah, it's just been a week. The craziness truly started for Houston last Monday. Mm-hmm. Now, it started in Texas, obviously, before that, because it came down from the north. Mm-hmm. But so Monday, so it's been a little over a week. And there's, and you think about so many homes with pipe issues, and but the plumbers can't even keep up. I mean, some people are
No.
being told, you're on the list, but it's 6 weeks out.
Mm.
So, people are just they're pulling up their own carpet and flooring and cutting out the sheetrock so you don't get mold. Like,
Sure.
you can't wait for 6 weeks. And it's just, so yeah, I'm with the nonprofit, I'm a board member on, just trying to do my part and help financially. And because we're also still in a global pandemic.
Right. Lest we forget that other little thing out there. Yeah.
So, you can't the distribution sites are all set up where people can drive through, puts it in your car, your trunk, and you keep going. Like, where you would normally go help someone physically, you just have to be more cautious of that.
Yeah.
And which obviously slows things down,
Sure.
because if, there was a lot more ways to make physical deliveries to people that don't have transportation.
Yes.
All of those things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the hashtag Houston Strong is very accurate. We always jump in as a city and help our neighbors when these types of things happen. But it's just, some people have just absolutely lost everything.
Yeah.
Well, again, it's not a hurricane. This is a
right.
freeze.
It was
still
cold, right?
Mind-boggling that this is not a hurricane. This was not a tropical storm. We're used to those. We're not used to 5-degree temperatures.
That's good. We're going to make something out of that. But before we're going to talk, we're going to take on the psychology of that and how we do that as people. But, so, hey, for those of you watching and listening, you just joined our conversation midstream. I didn't even introduce my dear guest, Miara Shaw, Maven Miara. I'm so excited to have you here today, all the way from Houston, hashtag Houston Strong. I love that. So thank you for sharing your experience with us. We're so happy that you are safe and well and sound and warm and clothed and have water and food. So thank you for sharing the time with us today. Good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure. It's, you wake up some days and you're definitely a lot more grateful than some other days. So it's been gratitude of being able to be on the side of being a helper instead of needing to be a recipient. It really helps you put things in perspective really quickly.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm going to dive right in with a question just based on what we just talked about.
Okay.
Because I know that you help people, women particularly, right? Women entrepreneurs, like essentially stop wasting time, get off their butts, figure out what they're doing, focus and go do it, right?
Yeah.
Like that's in Dr. Sherri's terms.
The motto that I use is I move women from stuck to execution.
Yes.
And we call that in my community BAM, which stands for bust a move. Like, let's get going. The women use that hashtag all the time. BAM, bust a move. Do
you ever like have events and use like the Young MC song?
I know I've never done that, but listen.
You totally
done. Consider it done. Next event, that's the song.
That's the song. I love that song. If you want it. Okay. Anyway, here's the question for you based on what we just talked about. You said, okay, this would make sense. This outcome, this destruction, we'll use the word outcome, would make sense if it was a hurricane or, anything like that. But 5-degree freezing temperatures, we weren't ready for that. And we didn't think, you don't think that that would have this level of impact. Right. So here's where I'm diving in, Miara, because I know in your work with women in helping them figure out, focus and go from stuck to execution and do, they run into a lot of things that they didn't expect would have the outcome. Yeah. Right? Lots of things. And so let's just make that shift. Let's make that shift from a nature event to a psychological event, and let's just open up that dialogue and have a conversation about that.
Yeah, it's I actually gave that some thought the other day. When you think last week we were having freezing rain, which is sleet and snow, lots of snow. That, what was it? A couple days ago, like a week later, we're at 70-degree temperatures. The sun, the last 2 days have been absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
And in life, the thought I was thinking yesterday that after every storm, the sun does come out.
Yes.
It does
Yes.
shine again.
Yes.
The goal is we have to survive the storm.
Yeah.
We have, and listen, surviving the storm sometimes is messy. It's not gonna be cute.
Right.
We were in our house without power, I don't know,
Yeah.
2 pair of socks, 2 pair of pants, 5
Yeah.
shirts, all of these things. Sometimes you have to do everything you need to do
Yeah.
to just survive the storm. Get to the other side of where your journey's taking you. And here's the deal. Your journey's gonna take you through some storms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't anticipate that that's not going to happen, or
Yes.
even that you're doing something so wrong if
Yeah.
you encounter a journey. Encounter a storm. It's part of the journey.
Yeah. Well, it totally is. And here's, our messages align just in different ways. Because I talk about thriving in any and every circumstance. So
Right.
if there's a storm, that is still actually, it's the best opportunity
Absolutely.
to thrive.
Yeah.
Because that just means you're growing and you're
Absolutely.
getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Right.
Right?
I call it get the lesson.
Get the lesson.
Anytime there is a loss or a failure,
Yes.
get the lesson, because
Yes.
that lesson we need it for our future self.
Yes.
Something in that
Yeah.
we are going to need for our future self. So when that test, that adversity, that challenge, that barrier comes up again, we can say, okay, now wait a minute. I've seen this before. This is what I did last time that I wasn't so successful at. Let's do it a different way. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's take that lesson of loss and turn it into a win. And that's why I say there are no wasted experiences.
Yes.
If
yes.
we can get the lesson,
100%.
no
Yeah.
wasted experiences. I think in our Western culture, we, with the invite of social media and all of those things, making things so instant, we have subconsciously accepted a thought that everything should be fast, success should be instant. We should be a millionaire.
Because it's not just
overnight.
instant, it's instant perfection. It's
Exactly.
the perfectly lighted,
Yes.
filtered photo,
Yes.
right?
When you don't know that photo you saw on Instagram, that was the 100th shot. And it has been edited. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like
Yes.
the life is not that way. And really, how boring would that be?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it would
If
be.
we were just stepping through life and everything was perfect and there were no barriers to overcome and no
Yeah.
obstacles to figure out and no challenges to maneuver around.
Yeah.
All of those things that we learn creates the tenacity that we need, especially in the space of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
This is not the easiest of journeys. Listen, I've tried to talk God out of this a lot of days.
No doubt. No doubt.
Like, listen, let me put this back in the offering basket and take something else out. This is not it.
Can I come back to the store, please? The
Yes.
dream store. No,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. And I think too, I love what you said about Western culture. I do think that we believe this lie that life would be better if we didn't have trouble.
Yeah.
And that's why I started the show.
Yeah.
Like you're just my kindred heart. I love you already, and I hardly even know you. But I just love the fact that you have this view. And so we're going to get personal with you today. Yes. We're going to get you to share a story with us. But yeah, I think too many times, instead of to use your terminology, getting the lesson, we're too busy wishing stuff away.
Yeah.
And, wishing the hardship away. In fact, I had a friend the other day, and she texted me, and she's going through some stuff in her life. And she said, is there ever any peace? And I responded to her. I said, there can be peace in your mind and spirit if you choose it.
Yeah.
And there's never peace, full peace in the journey, because if there is, then we're done stretching and growing.
Yeah.
If there's nothing if everything is predictable and everything is standard, then it's like the Truman Show. Have you ever seen? Right?
Yeah. Well, and it's human nature that we desire comfort.
Yes, yes.
We want to be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to necessarily be stretching and growing. Although we can very logically say,
Yes.
this is the thing I need for growth.
Yeah.
I've got to be stretched. I've got to
Mm-hmm.
get
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable. I've got to
Yeah.
take the steps. But as human beings, we want comfort. And the quote of everything great is outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's so absolutely true.
Yes.
Because we, as humans, I would not continue to put myself in uncomfortable situations.
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, for me, I'm a faith believer.
Yeah.
So I say, God, if you can show me the next 10 steps, we're together. I'm on it.
Right.
I'm going to put it on my calendar, have it pop up as a reminder, like I got it. Well, I'm ready. And yeah, that's the laugh. I feel like God gives me, he's like, yeah. So yeah, it's just not quite how it's going to work. But like, really, if we have all of that,
yeah,
why do we need faith?
That's 100%.
Faith is for what you cannot see.
Yes.
And if you can see it all, I say to clients, if you can see it all,
yeah,
if you're very comfortable with what you're trying to purpose into the earth, you're not doing it right. No. You're not pushing hard enough because it's going to be uncomfortable. And if you can see all the steps and all of those steps can be accomplished by you alone, you are not doing it big enough. Because that greatness requires us to not only trust ourselves and our faith, but to trust other people. We are built for community. Good. Yeah. Yes. Our greatness is not going to come, as one of our kids who are all young adults say, solo dolo.
Solo dolo.
It's not going to happen. Yeah. And really for me, I don't want it to happen in isolation. I want to build with community and women that I trust. And I call them part of the Maven squad. Yeah. That's where the joy comes in and the fun. And even you mentioned about the peace, really being clear that peace does not come from the things that we do. That's right. I have a Maven quote that says the work is not skippable. That's talking about the internal work.
You got a T-shirt for sale too.
Yes, I need to get a refill on those and get them replenished. But if we're going to build greatness, it has to start internally. Yeah. Because we can build great things externally, but that peace that your friend asked about and that fulfillment and that joy, if we don't do that from the inside out, we're always looking for it in some type of physical, tangible thing. Yeah. And there are physical, tangible things that can help bring us joy, but it cannot sustain our joy.
No, that's right.
It cannot sustain our peace.
Fleeting.
That has to come internally, because I could be thrilled with my business today and be in the fetal position crying tomorrow.
Or like in 2 hours.
Or in 2 hours. So it can't, all of my peace and fulfillment and joy, it can't be built on that type of physical, tangible thing. Yes. Because listen, that can be very fleeting.
And it can be stripped from you.
Absolutely. You think about these natural storms that we have. People have lost everything from their homes. So if your peace and joy and fulfillment was built on that physical, tangible thing, that's gone.
Say that. Yes.
But you can rebuild a physical thing. Yeah. And even through storms, that's where that faith has to come to the surface of things are not going well right now. Things are tough right now. I don't see how this is going to work out. But my faith tells me that God has never let me down. Yeah. He's never not shown up. I say to folks sometimes that, send you those text messages and I say, I want you to look back over your journey, just briefly. You don't have to look very far.
Right. That's
and
right.
And tell me, when has God not shown up for you? When has he not definitely not in the timing that we like. Okay. That's right. We're always like, God, can you speed up? Can you come a little sooner? Right. But when has he failed to show up when you really needed it? And I think those are the things that sustain us when there are natural disasters, when things are physically going wrong in our physical lives. That mental sanity for me is grounded on my faith and just knowing there's some things I just simply cannot control, like the weather. Why am I going to get myself all worked up about that when it doesn't matter that I'm worked up. I
It's
can't
not going to
change the
change a
temperature.
single thing. That's right.
I can't,
That's right.
using that energy to focus on what can I control.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can
So,
control putting on more clothes and
right.
doing those things. That's what I can control. And even in our businesses and in our journeys,
Mm-hmm.
focusing our energy on what's the pieces of this challenge I'm looking at that I can control.
Yes.
That's where I can put my energy.
Because anywhere else is wasted.
It really is
And
wasted.
And that's why, for the people listening, they cannot see that you have framed behind your pretty head boss lady. That's
Yes.
why Maven Miara is boss lady. And I just want to highlight something here. I'm going to ask you to get personal
Yeah.
and share an experience with us of a time that you felt alone.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the truth that I want the listeners and the viewers to understand is that, my message of thriving in any and every circumstance, your message of getting the lesson and being willing to get messy and uncomfortable does not come from some ideology. It comes
Right.
from experience
Mm-hmm.
and gifted understanding of how to apply that. And
Yeah.
so that's why I love having people like you who live the talk
Yes.
on the show and can share with us a personal experience. In this case, in this season, we're talking about an experience of being alone.
Okay.
And to use your phrase, we'll eventually get to how did you get the lesson from that?
Right.
So tell us about a time you felt alone.
So my husband and I actually celebrated 19 years of marriage yesterday. But
I saw
was,
that
I
on
was,
social media.
I was
Congratulations.
married before. And so when I was going through my divorce, I got married at an early age, became a mom early. And so when I was going through my divorce, so now I'm a single parent of two, that was really the first time I was alone as an adult.
Okay.
And I remember
That you were alone or you felt alone?
No, that I was alone. So meaning I went from my mother's house when I got married to my marriage.
Okay.
So I had never lived alone.
Got it. Okay.
You talk about, I remember sitting, so this was like the first weekend my kids were, going to visit their dad for their weekend. So now I'm physically at home alone.
Right.
For the first time as an adult, because I leave my parents' house to my
So
marriage.
essentially the first time ever.
Ever. And I remember sitting in a chair in my living room and bawling my eyes out.
Oh.
Because I was like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do now?
What? Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I knew how to be a wife. That ended. I know how to be a mom, but my two children are not here.
Yeah.
Now it's just me. And I had to I was sitting in a chair. I had to sit with that.
Yeah.
And
literally
sit with that. And I remember feeling so alone and overwhelmed in that moment. Like, I didn't even know what the next step was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I would, when my kids came back home, I would get up, get them dressed for school. I would go to work. I would come home. They'd have a little bit of free time to play and do all of that. And while they were doing that, I would just be in the bed. And I'd get up to cook dinner, get them baths back in the bed, and I'd be back in the bed. So I guess through a depression, but a moving depression, because obviously I still had people I needed to take care of.
Sure.
But I just remember feeling like everything was so heavy. Like I just felt like every step was like walking through cement, if you will, during that season. And I remember watching, this is kind of what snapped the light bulb back on for me. I remember watching a minister on television, and he was talking about like taking steps from challenges. What's the very next step you can take? Don't worry about all 10 that you need to take.
Right.
Or if you're at step 2, what's happening at step 20? What's the very next one that you can take? And for me, it was to get my finances figured out, because now I'm doing this alone.
Yeah.
And I remember this was before everybody had laptops. So it was before all of that. Just, a piece of paper and a pencil. This is how much I make. This is how much my bills are.
Yeah.
And starting a plan from there. That was step 1.
Yeah.
And now I felt like I had a little bit of a roadmap.
Yes.
To start coming out of this cement, this heaviness, because I knew, listen, you got to get yourself together, lady. Yeah. You got 2 people depending on you. And really, I'm frequently saying to women, because of those experiences I've been through, number 1, to be gentle with yourself. Okay. Because we can be our biggest critic. We don't really need any help.
Were you far from gentle with yourself during that time?
I feel like I was, because I felt like I was supposed to know immediately what to do. Well, why would I know that? I've never experienced this. That's the illogical part of when we beat ourselves up.
That's right.
We're beating ourselves up about stuff often we have not experienced before. And so I think I was being really hard on myself because from looking back on my life, I've always been an executor. It's part of my DNA. I get that from my mother. My mother it was black or white. You were going or staying. You were in or you were out. It was red or it was green. There was no yellow.
Get off the fence.
Yes. And so I really saw her moving that way. That's where I naturally got it from.
Yeah.
So going through that season in my life, I felt like I was supposed to know what the step was. Like, Myra, figure it out and just get it done. And so once I could kind of clear a little bit of a path, the gentleness came with me for myself was knowing just the very next step to take, which through my journey, again, created another Maven quote that says, you're CPR. You're capable, prepared, and ready for your very next step.
So have you said those things to yourself?
I have said those things to myself. And I think when I really started working with women, I started crafting actual phrases around them that I could share with other women.
Yeah.
And women will reply frequently on my social media about, I'm being gentle with myself today. They hear me saying it because I'm saying it all the time. Yeah. I'm always saying, be gentle with yourself. And I'm always saying, you're CPR. You're capable, prepared, and ready for the very next step.
Yes.
We can't be worried about step 20 when we're at step 2.
Yeah.
Step 19 is going to prepare you for 20.
Yeah.
The very next step is the one in front of you. That's the one you've got to take. And maybe it's a baby step.
Yeah.
Give yourself credit for the baby step. Everything does not have to be a leapfrog movement for us to say, I've done something. Whatever the next gentle step in your journey is, take that one.
Right.
Be okay with that one. And sometimes we take that step with our eyes open. Sometimes we take it with our eyes closed and we're hoping, wishing, and praying, my God, that this is the right thing. You know, sometimes you're just unsure. And that is the unsettling part for us humans. We want to be sure. We don't want to fail. We don't want to have to be uncomfortable. So oftentimes women are stuck. That's stuck from execution. They're stuck because they're so afraid that this very next step in front of me, what if it's not right? What if it's wrong? And I'm often saying to women, okay, if it's wrong, we'll fix it.
Right. So what? The world's not going to end.
The world's not going to end. You're going to be okay. And so if it's wrong, we're going to get the lesson.
Right.
Okay, this is how I misstepped on that. And then we're going to move on. And before you know it, you're going to be at step 3, 4, 5. Then you're going to be at 20. Like, we spend so much energy and fear that what if it's wrong? Well, hell, what if it's right?
Right. So when you took a prerequisite step to your first step. Your first step, you said, was sitting down, at the table with the pen and the paper to look at your finances. You knew. So take us back to that, like when you were just doing what you needed to do, right? For the people that you were responsible for. And you were in the bed a lot.
Yeah.
What did you feel like was keeping you there? What thoughts were keeping you there? What fears did you have? What was missing now that you found yourself alone?
The fear of knowing.
The fear of knowing.
I just didn't know what I needed to do.
Okay.
Or what I thought I needed to do. What if I really couldn't do it?
So,
the fear. Fear is the beast that shows up at every step in our journey. I was speaking to some college prep students in the Philippines last Friday night, and I told them, fear is going to show up each day.
Yes.
And when you conquer fear today, fear is going to try to figure out, oh, okay, well, she conquered it today. Let's see how we can show up tomorrow in a different way.
In that 5-degree weather.
In that 5-degree weather to keep, fear is going to keep coming. It's not going to say, oh, right. Well, Miara conquered fear today. She has it. It's going to say, oh, well, it's going to morph. Let's figure out a different way. Mm-hmm. And I think in that season of my life, fear really under so much that we go through.
Yeah.
Under all of the stuff, it really is fear. Telling
everything. Yes.
You're not capable.
Yes.
You're not ready.
Yeah.
What if you can't do it? No,
the
actually,
what ifs.
You can't do it. Like fear is not gentle and like, well, what if you can't do it? Fear's telling you, you cannot.
Right. Fear is not gentle.
It is not gentle. It's telling you, you can't do that.
Yeah.
That's going to be impossible. You're going to fail, and your children are not going to have care. Like it overwhelms people.
Yeah.
With not moving, staying stuck, because we can become more comfortable in fear.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That comfort, at least I know this. Mm-hmm. I know what I can do while I'm in this bed. Yeah. It's nothing, but I know that.
But it's certain. There's certainty about that.
Certainty.
Right.
So to say in that example, I've got to get out of the bed.
Yeah.
Get a shower.
Yeah.
Get some clothes on and move through the journey.
Yeah.
With a lot of, I don't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For so many people, it's more comfortable just to stay in the bed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it's certain. It's safe.
Yeah, it's certain. Yeah.
You don't
and
have
although
to
you're
fear.
laying there and you're saying, I should get out of this bed. Mm-hmm. I've got to get out of this bed.
Yeah.
I'm more than being in this bed. Like you're saying all of these things to yourself. Uh-huh. And I think for each person, there comes a light bulb moment.
Mm-hmm.
There comes a moment.
You? I was just going to ask you, what was your catalyst?
Yeah, it really was seeing that message on television.
Okay, all right.
Taking what I took from that entire message was take the one step that you can take. Mm-hmm. Do something that gives you control back. So in the example of finances, when we don't know what our finance situation is, we're just kind of, if I don't look, it's going to be okay. It's not going to be okay.
Right.
So for me, writing it all down and seeing it, putting my eyes on it, gave me a sense of control. I know what I need to do. And in my situation, I had to call a couple of credit card companies and say, I'm not going to be able to pay you.
You have to make the call.
I had to make the call. And I later paid them.
Sure.
But I can't pay you right now. I got to take care of my kids and pay my mortgage and make sure I have a car.
Yeah.
I was like, I cannot do it.
And I bet you have felt so much more relief and control when you did that, because
the relief, because of course these people are calling you all the time.
All the time.
And just the relief that I've put a pin, a pause button on that.
Yeah.
It's not deleted because I still owe the money.
Right.
But there's a pause. I was able to hit pause on 2 or 3 things on this list, the things I need to do. If I can hit pause on 3 or 4 things, then I can take that energy, that capacity, and reapply it to things that I can actively do right now. And I think that's another part of that overwhelming thing is taking that step of really evaluating what do I have in front of me? What am I going to have to do? What am I responsible for? And some things you're going to put the pause button. Some things cannot be paused.
Yeah.
You got to feed your family. I had to feed my kids and all of that. So I had to keep my job and all of those things. So those things. And I think oftentimes a good way to move from that stuck to execution is, and I'm sure you've used this term, brain dump. Oh, we have so many things in our head that are overwhelming us.
Get it out.
I tell my clients, just write it all out. Don't worry about spelling, punctuation, all of that. And I encourage them to write it. I don't want them to type it. I want them to write it. Just get it all out. If the list is 50 things or 100 things, get all of the things that are in your head overwhelming you on paper. And what you find is you go back to the top of that list, and there are some things that are in your mind, your mental to-do list, that no longer even serve you. Like it's over. You can't even execute on it if you wanted to. The time has passed.
Yeah.
But we never took it off of our mental list.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just mark some stuff off.
Yeah.
That's okay. These 10 things, I can't even do them now. The time has passed. And then you prioritize what is most important. What do I need to do right now?
Mm-hmm.
What can I do right now?
Mm-hmm.
And then those are the things, no more than 3, you focus your energy on.
Yeah.
Once you get past those, reprioritize the list again, and then take the next batch of things.
Mm-hmm.
But we become overwhelmed and stuck when we're trying to look at our whole pie
Mm-hmm.
and say, how can I eat this whole pie at one time?
Yeah.
And that's, you need to eat just a slice. You don't need to eat the whole pie.
Right.
Not often is it even logical for us to try to do all of the things
Mm-hmm.
we have floating around in our head at one time.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a way to move from that stuff to execution, is get all of those thoughts out of your head onto
Mm-hmm.
paper.
Mm-hmm.
Cross out the things that no longer serve you.
Yeah.
You can't even execute on them if you wanted to. It's the time's, you missed the deadline. It's over, right? And then prioritize the most important things. What do I need to do right now?
Mm-hmm.
And just focus your energy on those things. That also serves to feed our brain that, oh, there was something on this list and it's accomplished.
Yeah.
You did it, which starts to then rebuild your self-esteem and your confidence in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Confidence comes from what we think about ourselves, not what other people think about us.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think, slowly is how you can start to move out of your stuck place.
Mm-hmm.
It's just prioritizing. Here are all the things. Here's what's most important, and focus in. This is where I'm going to spend my energy, because the other things on the list want your attention.
Yeah.
The focus and the self-discipline
Mm-hmm.
to use that energy on what is most important right now is how you're going to be able to start moving again.
Yeah. Well, it's very clear. It's no secret, based on the way that you talk, that you are a doer, right?
Yes.
Like you are a doer and
Yes.
not, maybe, I mean, I'm sure you are a thinker too, but you know, in my world, I really help women overcome the thoughts that they have that keep them from living the life that they want, right? The thoughts that keep them in bed.
Right.
So let me ask you this. What would you say to somebody, or maybe you can share a story with us. Maybe you've worked with someone who is not a doer.
Okay.
Okay. So you're talking to somebody who's not a doer and they're like, I hear you. I hear all of that step by step. This seems really simple stuff, but you don't understand what's going on up here. What would you say to her?
For one, I would say, again, be gentle with yourself. You know, we are each kind of, our DNA is kind of crafted as it is. Okay?
Yes.
The second thing is, and this is really important, I use this a lot with entrepreneurs that don't execute as quickly as I do. I have them do time blocking.
Okay.
And that says, and for me, the best time of the day for me to really like knock out a detailed task is in the morning. That's because when I was trading, I had to be rocking and rolling at 6:45 in the morning. So my brain just got wired to doing things early. Whatever the best time of day is for you, block out that hour or 2 hours and then dive in. Like, don't answer a text message. Don't reply to an email.
In fact,
don't answer
put it
your
away.
phone. Put it on Do Not Disturb.
Yes. Yeah.
And focus all of your energy on the 1 or 2 tasks you need to get done during that time block. Period.
Yeah.
Now, you still got to use some energy, to use some discipline to say, okay, I'm going to get this done.
Yeah.
But that way you've blocked out some time. And again, the reason I suggest first thing in the morning is that's before you started replying on Instagram and Facebook and replying because your brain starts floating off on all these other tasks.
Yeah.
Before you fill it with all of that stuff, block out those tough tasks or the things you know you need to do early in the morning. Use that time blocking. And I cannot tell you how much success my clients have when they do that. Now, when they start abandoning it and start texting me or emailing me can I get a few more days? I'm like, no, you can't have a few more days.
No.
And guess what? When I apply that pressure back, when it's time for our session, magically, they're where they need to be.
They're making progress. They're
and that
getting
is
to where
the
they
power
want.
of accountability.
That's
for
100%.
folks that don't have that natural ability to just get it done. It's so important to have an accountability person. Doesn't necessarily have to be a coach or paying or someone in your life that you can share in detail your goal. I often say, if you can't give details about your goal, that's not the right accountability person.
Yes.
Because you're not trusting them with the whole story. You got to give them the whole thing.
Yep.
And then be specific on, when are we going to check in? Is it every Monday? Is it every 2 days? Whatever
be deliberate about it. Yeah.
Be intentional about what you're going to do. That helps people that are not so doer focused to at least kind of stay on track in a more gentle way. Now, oddly enough for me, I've had to learn over the years how to not do.
I was going to say, I bet it's your Achilles heel too.
Oh my God. That has been my struggle of being gentle with myself.
Yes.
Not to always be freaking doing.
Like, you don't have to save the world. Listen, if you just look at your website, you do a lot. You do a lot. Like, you sell products and you have groups and now you're on a nonprofit board and you coach and which we're going to get to that here very shortly. But how do you keep yourself from doing?
So here's the thing. I have been so intentional from the very beginning of coaching and hosting events for women to live an authentic journey.
Yes.
I don't want to be on a stage, on a podcast telling women what to do, and I haven't done it. So the whole term of balanced rhythm is a term I had to create for myself.
Yes.
Because that's
where it comes from.
Yeah, that doing, it can be too much. And this is a true story. I was working with a life coach. This was before I started my Maven journey, before I started my business. I was seeing a life coach. And she said to me, Myra, if you don't get this doing, this executing under control, you're going to hit a brick wall.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, I left her office after that session hotter than a firecracker. Because how dare you tell me this is how it's done?
Right.
This is how I've created success.
Yeah.
How dare you tell me that this is not the right way? Like, what are you talking about? When I tell you, Dr. Sherri, I cried for 2 days. I called my best friend when I got in my car, and I was like, can you freaking believe this lady? I'm firing her. I was angry because for the first time, I had to face the fact that I've got to do this a different way.
Right.
And again, fear. The biggest feeling I felt was, this is comfortable. I know how to execute. I know how to be a type A and get stuff. I know how to do that. Now you're challenging me that that's not the right way all the time? What? And I had to be in my 30s at the time. Yeah. And I just was like, this lady,
she doesn't know what she's talking about.
She doesn't know what she's talking about. Right. And I think the tears came from, I knew she was right.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. That's where they came from.
And I cried. I was just like, and I'm not a big crier. I'm not a big emotional girl. Right. I was mad and angry and fearful, all of those things, because I was like, if you're standing at a level, you're like, this next level is up here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the gap in between where I am right now and what she's kind of saying I'm thinking I'm gonna need to do.
Yeah.
Ugh. Like, how is that even gonna happen? And really how I started that journey of understanding what balanced rhythm looked like for me. And I specifically use the word rhythm because balance is in motion.
Yeah.
Monday doesn't look like Tuesday. Tuesday doesn't look like Wednesday. And I don't use work-life balance because it feels like you're trying to get to a fixed state.
Yeah.
And that's never going to happen. When people say balance is not attainable, right.
Work
and
is part
that
of it.
concept, no, because I'm not going to get to a certain point
Right.
And then all is good. It's going to stay balanced. It's
Yeah.
a rhythm because it's in motion. And the first thing that I had to do with figuring that out, which I share with women all the time, is I had to get quiet and just sit with Myra.
Yeah. There
What
you were
does-
sitting with it again.
Sitting again. The not doing. That's the uncomfortable part. Like,
I know,
I want to
right?
be doing. And really having to get still and get quiet.
Yeah.
And honestly, I laugh about it now. When I first started on that journey of just getting still and quiet and meditating in the mornings, I could only handle it for about 60 seconds. I was like, I don't know what's supposed to be happening in this moment, but it's not happening.
But I got stuff to do.
I got stuff to do. And so all I could do was about 60 seconds. And that was listening to the meditation app, helping me focus on my breathing. Because, of course, if I wasn't focused on my breathing or listening to the lady lead me in the meditation, my brain was going where? To my to-do list.
Right.
I got stuff to do. Come on, lady, let's get this wrapped up. And so then I could get to 5 minutes. And then I could do it without the meditation app. I could really sit in the silence. And so that's one of the things when women are where I was, they're frustrated with me when I'm asking, so what do you really want out of your journey?
Right.
What's your purpose? What makes you feel fulfilled? What brings you joy? And they just come to tears because they don't quite know yet.
Right.
And I go, that's okay.
Yeah.
I just want your assignment, your homework assignment is to just be still and be quiet for 5 minutes. If you can only start with 60 seconds, I tell them that's fine. That's where I started.
Yeah.
But just start with 60 seconds, being still and quiet and listening to what your spirit is telling you it wants from you to deliver to the earth.
Yeah.
Just
that's so
be
good.
comforted by that.
Yeah. And your story is a beautiful example. That particular part of your story is a beautiful example of how when we have a gift, your gifting is clearly execution and strategy.
Yeah.
Right? When we have a gift, it can be unbridled, right? Or and ineffective.
Yes.
Or it can be tamed and made to change in the world and move mountains.
Yeah.
And so that story, what you're talking about is it's not you abandoning your gift. It's not you saying my gift doesn't work all the time. It's you saying my gift is my obligation to now hone, sharpen, and use it as a tool that can make my life, my light shine the way that it's supposed to. So I hope that the listeners and viewers hear that.
And that's why I say development, self-development is always a journey.
Yeah.
It's always a journey. How I show up in my business today is not how I was showing up in my business 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's because, and this is what I truly believe, that as we grow internally, our purpose becomes more clear. We get more clarity on it.
Yes.
Because really, for me, if God had shown me today what I'm doing today, 10 years ago when I started, I've been like, no, I'm out. There's no way I'm going to be doing
knowing
all of
the
that.
whole picture.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so I think more of our purpose gets revealed to us as we do our internal work to get more clear about what we need to do, what we want to do, and continuing to work on those areas that need work. I often say doing is something I have to keep a very close finger on. Yeah. Because I can quickly get into the zoom. Like let's go, let's do it all. That's something I have to be, and because it's my gift, sometimes people feel like your gift is just, like you said, always the great thing. Yeah. But I have to keep a very close pulse on not falling into just the doing mode. Right. To slow down. I'm actually hosting a unBAM retreat.
I like that. Now that's some balanced rhythm.
Yeah, at the end of March in Austin, Texas, for some women. And the entire weekend, we have no agenda. Nice. There are no sessions.
Oh, that is so uncomfortable.
We are simply going to be. Right. I'm hopeful the weather in March, which it normally is really great. Yeah. And I really plan to be beside the pool with some champagne and a book. That's my whole agenda.
I love it.
I have nothing else.
Tell the listeners and the viewers how they can get in touch with you. Well, let me ask this. This is a two-part question.
Yes.
So who is your optimal client? Who is the optimal woman that you want to work with?
Yes.
And how do you serve them, and how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah. So my ideal client is a female entrepreneur who has some clarity about her work. She's not necessarily in startup mode. She's been working for a bit, and she needs help, strategy on executing to move to that next level. How does she get efficiencies built into her system? How does she add automation? How does she, as the CEO, get out of the weeds? That's tough. We build these babies from the ground up, and it is hard for us to allow a VA to come in and do her work. Yes. And so I really help women create I call it a strategy map on how do I grow my business, because you can't grow if it's just you. There's only so much you can do alone. That's right. And so we really create strategies around that. So that's really my ideal client or my ideal business. I do a lot of business advisory work with medium-sized businesses on helping them and their teams also create those clear strategies on, we're not just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall all the time. Let's have a strategy on what we need to do. And so the biggest way that I'm serving women right now is through a membership that I have, and it's called Maven Nation Baddies. And I say that a baddie is a woman looking to create success without sacrificing her relationships, her health, or her mental sanity.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, who doesn't want that?
Yes.
I want that.
Yes.
So what's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Yeah, so they can go to my website, miarashaw.com, and everything that I offer is there. But of course, I'm on the social platforms as Miara Shaw as well. And the membership, I love it because each month I bring in other experts to share something. I'm not the expert at everything. Right. Yeah. So I bring in other experts to share with these. And most of my clients are not full-time entrepreneurs. About 60% of my clients that are in the membership, or they have a full-time corporate job and they're growing their business on the side. And their goal is to grow their business to their full-time job. And so we also create what I call a quit strategy. Don't just quit your job today. You don't have a strategy for that. You don't have enough money for that. You know,
I did that.
Listen. It's doable, but it makes your journey a lot
harder than it needs to be. Yes, it does.
And so for women that want that, we develop a quit strategy on here are the things you need to be doing and getting ready for. And so that membership is my primary focus. And I'm really coaching individuals that are really medium-sized businesses. I'm not doing a lot of one-on-one coaching. I just do that inside the membership.
Got it.
Which again is called Maven Nation Baddies, and they can find that on my website under the Work with Myra tab.
Okay, wonderful. So Miara, as we close out today, and I don't want to because I could just chat with you all day and I continue to get inspired, but that's one of my untamed gifts is I could just soak it up all day. I could have been a lifelong student, but then I realized that part of my responsibility of my gift of learning was to interpret and disseminate and to give that to other people. So so that's really good. So the last thing I want to ask you that I ask every guest, and this season is about thriving alone. So if there's one truth that you could leave the people listening and watching about thriving alone that you want them to remember when this episode ends, what would it be?
That we all do need seasons of alone. We all need that. That's where that quiet time is going to come from, and you really listening for what you were supposed to do. What is your purpose? What are you created specifically to do? Because you have a unique way of delivering what you've been purposed to do.
That's right.
So that alone is necessary at times, but we are created for community. And you've got to figure out who is supposed to be supporting you. As doers, we're always supporting a lot of other people. But I've had to be intentional on cultivating my circle of women that can also support me. And here's the thing with that. Sometimes we get that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we invite people into our intimate circle that maybe they said they were something that they're not, so I want folks to know that sometimes you're going to get that wrong.
Yeah.
That's okay. There's still a lesson to be gained with that.
Right.
And to continue to be intentional about also having people in your circle that can support you. Mm-hmm. Life's journey can be tough, especially when you're trying to deliver purpose into the earth. Mm-hmm. And you cannot sustainably forever do it alone. And so you need that support. So be intentional about having those people that you can call, you can text, that you can trust to hear you, to support you, but to also keep you out of your comfort zone.
Woo! My mind is blown. I got a lot of information. This is an episode to go back and listen to 2 or 3 more times. Take that nugget. And hey, while you're at it, would you let me know what that nugget is that my friend Miara shared with you that has impacted your life today? You can just email me at drsherryspeaks@gmail.com. You can DM me on Instagram at dr.sherryspeaks or on Facebook at dr.sherry. I would love to hear how you are using the wisdom that is being shared so generously by my guests like Miara on this show, how you're using that to impact and change your life so that it truly thrives. Do go and check out Miara at miarashaw.com. The link is in the show notes. Do follow her on Instagram. I love how Miara lives her message, has lived her message, and that her message is actually a product of the way that she's chosen to live. And your reality can also be a product of how you choose to live. And hey, to get more thriving thoughts, little snippets throughout the week from me straight to your text messaging inbox, all you need to do is text the word thrive to 540-369-2139. Until Friday, when I'm back with another solo episode for you, please remember, speak truth over the lies and you will thrive in any and every circumstance.